Gonna jump onto the old YouTube as well. So we've got Instagram and YouTube. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. And if you're on the YouTube, you'll get the screen share and the audio share a little bit better, but Instagram will be more like a live kind of podcast style thing as well, which is quite fun too. So yeah, I'm gonna just make sure all this is set up and good, and then we'll wait around for see if anyone wants to join. And then once we've got a few people joined, we'll get started at 8:30 p.m. on the stream. And if you are currently watching this on the rewatch on a different day, legend, thanks so much. I'm sure you'll enjoy learning about this as well. So whilst we're waiting, I thought I'll just play a little bit of my track that I've been working on. And as you can see, we've taken it from being just a bunch of clips to 3 scenes to a whole timeline with automation. And it's kind of got this kind of synthwave techno hybrid vibe. So here's a bit of the track just now. All right, just need to set my settings for OBS here, 2 seconds. Should work now. There we go. Starts quiet, this one. Hey, welcome to the stream on YouTube, whoever we've got there. Thanks for joining us. Give us a comment, let us know you're locked in. We're just listening through the track, make sure the volumes are on good. Yep. I'll maybe turn this one down a bit. So hope you can hear the track okay and hear my voice okay and stuff. So welcome. Like I said, give me a comment to let us know you're locked in. For those on the Instagram, enjoying this playthrough as well. So just if you're on the YouTube there as well, just add an extra automation in, which is kind of what we added yesterday. Bits of automation, these red lanes you can see coming up to the drop. Hey, James, welcome. How's it going, bro? You alright? Hope this is looking good on the old YouTube and that. Hopefully sounds good and stuff as well. Glad to have you locked in nice and early. legend. So, this pad, yeah, I'll just revisit this as well. The FB3300, what a synth. Whoo! Free one as well. Cool, what's the time? So yeah, just a few minutes before we get started on like the actual session and tutorial and stuff like that. Let me just kind of turn this way a bit. Just turn a bit to get a better angle for everyone so it looks good and stuff like that. Yeah, glad it's looking all right, James. Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. So let's just check all this is good. Yeah, that's cool. So what I could do is turn this way a bit, because then we can get a bit of odd lighting and stuff. But yeah, the full bucket music stuff is absolutely magic, isn't it? So good. So those on Instagram, if you're on Instagram enjoying the live, sorry Instagram, you might even enjoy the YouTube one more, because it's got the whole screen share of my computer and stuff like that as well, which is kind of cool. So you'll get to see Ableton, but you might just enjoy it on your smartphone, just chilling out, listening to this as well. What I was doing there in this little pre-lesson build-up was pretty much going over this track I made. So I made this, let's do a little recap, this little 8-bar loop here of drums, bass, sub, blip, pad. And then in session 1 of these, which you can get on the rewatch, I showed you how to like take that and build it into 3 different scenes. So you had 3 scenes worth of music. And I find that was really important, because if you're trying to make a whole arrangement out of one loop, it's possible, but it's quite hard to get it evolving and feeling like interested enough over like 3, 4, even 5 minutes. So having about 3 scenes of music that is all kind of similar but different works, and that variation is important. So scene A duplicates part B. Some people might call that the verse, because like, you know, the verse is a classic term. That's kind of the more low-key bit of the song. Scene A is more like the chorus. And part C, I've got almost like a bridge, or an electronic music you might call the pre-drop, where it's like, oh, this is before the drop. And then we used a sort of classic song formula, the A, B, A, B, C, A, B. I changed it a little bit. A, B, A, B, C, A, C in this one. But in the guide I've got, which you guys can get online, the Finish That Damn Track guide, what I've got here is an actual, you can see this on YouTube, recipe you can use for what bar would have what section on it. And then, like I said, this is all explained in the last live stream, which you guys can re-watch on the Whiskey and Synths YouTube channel. And it's all there. And there's also even a short form video of that if you don't want to watch the whole live stream as well, to accompany the PDF guide that I'm showing on the screen here. So that's a bit of a recap. And then what we did is we added in automation lanes to help the sound evolve. Because if you just got an arrangement and no automation, it can sound dead blocky, dead kind of like, it sounds a bit rubbishy, a bit kind of like everything just slams in, which can be cool in certain genres. Like, I think like kind of the sort of big beat, almost like Fatboy Slim style sample-based music is quite cool. It just slams in, just different chopping and changing of different beats and samples and stuff like that can be really cool. So it depends what you're working on, but even, of course, Fatboy Slim's going to be using some sort of automation or recording in by hand, changing of parameters to keep things sounding interesting and evolving. And that's where we got to. And today, it's session where we'll get that started properly, because that's us hitting 8:30 now. So I just want to say, Slangervan music producers, hope you're doing well. If you're on the Instagram live stream or the Whiskey and Synths live stream, I see you there. Thanks so much. Drop any comments in the live stream comment thing. And yeah, James has already got a comment. What was that Genesis song called? Abacab. And that's like one of the classic ways of arranging a song. Part A, part B, part A, part C, part A, part B. So that is literally from that, James. So good shout. So we've used a variation of that on this one as well. So song structure. So yeah, we got Dow Sounds joined us. How's it going on the Instagram? So hope you're good. Great to have you here. I've got Ableton set up and we're looking at arranging a track from A to B. There was 2 previous live sessions where we arranged tracks to get it this far, which you can re-watch on the Whiskey and Synths YouTube. Whiskey and Synth. But this one today is all about adding in the final details of that arrangement. So it's kind of getting ready for mixing and mastering, which would be your next sort of steps once you've got your track arranged as well. So great to have you here. This is just, I'm really enjoying doing these actually, and great to have the feedback I've had on it as well. So people seem to enjoyed it on the rewatch or the live as well, which is cool. So let's get stuck into this song. Like I said, I'll play a clip of it, maybe from like the main part of it, part A here, and then you can hear it, part A going into part B, going into the pre-drop, and then I'll let you hear how it's getting there, but it seems to be lacking some things. Let's change the section here. We got Papa Sob joining us as well, right, Papa Sob? Just having a look at the track and what we're going to do with it. We've got some filtering going on, that's the automation from yesterday. Adding it to the drums there, maybe it's a bit much. Use loads of filter automation. That's one of your biggest friends in electronic music, using the filter automation. And then in a pre-drop, using loads of automation on the dry wet sends of like delay, other time-based effects like reverb, flanger, phaser even as well. I quite like having either as send and return tracks or dropped on the actual track itself. And then it kind of drops back in. So yeah, it's kind of getting there, this one, but a big thing that's important in arranging a track is ear candy, which is the main topic of the stream today. So what is ear candy? Now it's essentially a thing, and it could be a multiple different things, but it's something that happens in your track like once, maximum twice, okay? Hey, we got Fave Live live. Sorry, can't read the username, but welcome. How's it going? Fabe Olives here. Great to have you here as well. And we've got a few on the YouTube as well. Shout out the YouTube people. Leave a comment if you're locked in and enjoying this as well. Yeah, we're looking at adding ear candy to a track. So what is ear candy? It's something that happens once, maximum like twice in your track, and it can be a few things, okay? It could be, it's Faybop Live. Magic. Faybop Live, welcome, good to have you here. That's something about live streaming I didn't think I'd have to deal with, is like the usernames and trying to pronounce them and how stupid it can make me look when I'm trying to, but that's part of the entertainment for you guys, hopefully. Alright, so yeah, and that's part of the fun of the live streams as well. We're doing this session, but it's not just like me, like a robot. We can actually interact and stuff like that as well. So like I said, feel free to drop the comments as well, and I'll try and answer them as we go along, or halfway through, or even at the end. We'll have time for more in-depth comments as well. But ear candy, so it can just be one sound that happens in your track. So like dropped in a sample. A great example of this is a riser just before your drop of your track, or an intro sound that just happens in the intro, like a sample, or using a sample for the outro is a classic one as well. But another thing I quite like is, for example, it can just be a flourish of notes that just happens once, like a little fill on the bass, but it happens once in your track. Or it could be one time this effects changes parameter in quite a big way, but it happens once. And I quite like doing that as well. So we'll go through some examples of this. And I'm going to start with the one I just mentioned. So for example, a good classic one is on your drum rack doing it. And for example, you can have a bit of automation on just your snare drum, for example. So I'm going to go into my drum rack here and have a look at maybe this clip here. here. Yeah. We've got the kind of, we've got the claps going on. Yeah. And then you got this clap here, right here. So we've got one clap just before it changes section, okay? So if you're on the YouTube, you'll see that on screen right now. If you're on Instagram, hopefully I'm describing this all right. But one clap just before it changes section. I want to, just one time in the song this can happen, add a big splash of reverb just there on that one clap. And that's an example of ear candy, not just being a sample, but it can actually be an effect that happens once. So let's go to automation. I'm just going to draw in the dry wet. And a cool way to do that, if you're just doing your automation lane around one thing in Ableton, shout out the Ableton users out there. I use Logic as well in my day job, so if you've got questions on Logic, give me a shout, and you can do automation in Logic as well, and pretty much any DAW. But I'm doing it in Ableton. A little hack here is if you're in an arrangement view, you got automation mode on so you can see the lanes. Yes, you got fire for Ableton there. Yeah, you got your automation lane. If you put it in pen mode, B for Bleistift is a shortcut. It's quite easy to then drag it and drag like a kind of rectangle over something, just one moment, so it goes on and off like that. And I'll let you hear that just now. I'll solo the drum track so you can hear it. Like that. Hear that, just the reverb's on. Like that. And so what I want to do is just that one bit in the song, once this happens. So it's only happened once that, and these tiny little details can really help with your productions and be a bit more interesting, a bit cool. When I first started Ear Candy, I thought it was just one-off sounds and stuff, but it's actually more than that. For example, in the bass, I want to add a flourish of notes. And normally I'm not going to do it near the start because we want the loops to kind of get into it. But maybe this, we'll go to the second, maybe the last time section A repeats before it goes to the outro. So I'm going to look at my bass line here. And what I'll do is I'll split the clip because I know I'm just going to do this right then. So I'm going to go to bar 112, select where it is. Command E on Ableton is split. Like it's basically Command E for I think edit, and it slices it. And I'm just going to go into that MIDI clip, and I'm just going to put some notes in that are a bit different. So I might chuck in a few extra octave leaps on it actually. So I'm going to half the note length of one of the notes, add in the note in the same place, select it, and then octave leap it up. And then I'm going to do the same on this one, half the note length, add in the note for the half that was there, and octave it down by selecting it and doing shift and down, which will bring it down 2 leaps like that. Now, they might not be drastic, but this little detail just at the end of this bit is going to make it sound different to the rest of the loop. I'll do it solo. Yeah, so it adds a little bit different sound to it as well. I might even, instead of going at 2 octaves lower, go 2 like higher. Like that. Yeah, so it's a little fill like that. I might even change the let's show. So I'm not sure if that rhythm exactly works. You can play around with it for ages, but you get the idea. At the end of a section, maybe you'll have a flourish of notes that is different to other parts of your song. And it's kind of, you know, if you're a musician yourself that actually plays an instrument like guitar, bass guitar, keyboards, whatever, if you were playing a song for ages and had similar patterns to it, naturally you kind of want to throw in a few different notes sometimes. And I'm sure like a lot of us have done that before when we've been playing music. An instrument. It's almost like a drummer will add a fill because you can't just loop the same thing apart from we are like programming it in. However, I do advise if you do have some skills in play in stuff by hand when you can. And you know, quantize it a little bit. Don't go crazy. Not everything has to be quantized to the grid. exactly. If you do that, your music will sound quite robotic, which, you know, you might want, but even then it's nice to have some sort of human feel to it as you go along. So yeah, flourish your notes there. So far in our ear candy, we've had an effect that happens just once, like wash of reverb on a snare. And then we've had a flourish of notes, just it happens once at the end of a section. And then another classic one is, of course, to add in samples. And I love the start of the track in the intro. I've just got pads like this. It's quiet. Yeah. And what I want to do is I want to add in a sample to this. Now, good comment here from Faybop Live is Live 12 has humanized features for MIDI, which is very true. So to find them, I'm not on Live 12 myself right now, probably get it soon. But if you go to MIDI effects, I'm pretty sure it'll live in MIDI effects, and you'll drop it in front of your instrument. And what that does is it'll do things like it'll slightly alter the timing, it'll slightly alter the velocities of the playing as well. Now, and velocity is not to do just to do with volume, not just to do with volume, because the velocity, if you imagine a guitarist, when they pluck a string and they pluck it quieter, it does get quieter, but the tone changes as well. So velocity can affect tone and volume and a few other parameters as well. And then the humanization thing will also do a little bit. Oh no, we covered it mainly. The rhythm of it, it'll change, and the velocities is the main thing. But you can still get that with Ableton as well. You can chuck on like an LFO and then link it to the velocities. There's a few different ways of doing it as well. But of course, in the latest update, they've kind of got the latest version of it. You'll notice if you do want that human feel in your music, what I've done is, okay, that's a bad example. Actually, not too bad. Is if I actually, as I'm programming it in, I will change the velocities of things. So on the MIDI clips, that's really important. If I'm starting with a 1 bar loop or 2 bar loop, I'll straight away do the velocities. So as soon as I duplicate that loop and make it into an 8 bar loop, the velocities copy with it. And it's really important to get that human feel in electronic music, even if you're not going necessarily to emulate the way a human would play. Just having that feeling in it is really important, because at the end of the day, music's kind of about communication. It's kind of about getting your message across, getting a feeling across, and that comes from, you know, you as your soul. So adding these humanization elements is really good. So yeah, Faybop, thanks. That a good comment about that, how Ableton Live's got a new feature that helps with that even more as well. So yeah, keep the comments coming. Any questions or thoughts, give me a shout, absolutely. One thing that adds a human element to it, here's a segue for you, is when you are getting sounds in your track that have something to do with you and your life. So maybe you've got a field recording, is the fancy word for it. So basically just get your phone and go and record stuff on the recorder, and then send it from your phone to your computer and use that in your music. All right, so for example, I've got another project where I actually recorded this boombox behind me here. Just make sure you guys can see it. There you go. Recorded that using my microphone, and it got really cool sounds scrolling through the radio channel. So I think I'll maybe grab a bit of that sound and put it in. So I've got a stem for that. I'm actually using a different project, but I thought it's a good example. So it's a gadget that I love that I got cheap off eBay. It's from my life. It's kind of the sounds of something. And I made sure when I was scrolling through the stations, it was mainly talkie stations. So nothing that was like copyrightable music or anything like that. So let me go to find it on the computer here. So it's for the band No TV. It's from this year. It is TV Guy, stems. Oh my god, there's so many stems. It's a big project, this one. TV Guy Boombox. So I'm going to drag that stem on there to a new track. And if you haven't heard of a stem before, essentially it is a file. Well, each instrument will have its own stem, and you bounce them all separately as WAV files, usually. And then someone can drag that into a different DAW or the same DAW but in a different computer, and they know it all line up. If they set the tempo to their project the same, they can have all the audio, and it's good if people are mixing your stuff. Papa Sob's got to go, but thanks so much. Good to have you on here, man. Absolutely magic. And yeah, keep up doing your stuff. It's absolutely amazing work. So anyone on the streams doesn't know Papa Sob, check out his stuff. We went to Sound Engineer College together, which is so cool. And even done projects where he's had stuff on Tonic Note Records, Remix No TV as well. And shout out James, who's on the channel as well as Cam Shackle. He's on the YouTube stream as well. Check out Cam Shackle. Cam Shackle, he's my brother, but he makes amazing music as well. And Fabop Live, check out Fabop as well, who's on the stream too. And we also had DAO Sounds as well. So all music makers who've got bits and pieces out there worth checking out. But the first two I know personally really well, so shout out them as well. So I've got the boombox sound, which I quite like. So I'll bring it to this. I'm just going to clip it and bring it to the start so you guys can get an idea of what it sounds like, and I'll solo it. And I thought this might be a good thing to have as the introduction to the music. Okay, here we go, a bit quiet. Now, I love this kind of thing. Just so you know, I am not the first person ever to do this kind of thing. I'm pretty sure Pink Floyd did it. And then you had the Musique Concrète, early days sampler. People used tape machines in France in the 1950s recording trains and stuff. So they were legends. They were sampling before sampling was even called sampling. So check it out if you like the electronic music history and stuff. But essentially I thought, would this make a cool texture at the start of the track with the underneath the pad? Maybe quiet. It's really quiet in the mix. Now you might not hear that on the Instagram feed, maybe. It's coming through the speakers straight into my phone for Instagram, but on the YouTube feed it should be giving you the clean audio. And what I want is just to leave that as a texture now. It's the kind of thing you can have so quiet that if you mute it, you feel like something's gone, but when it's there, you can't really hear it. So I'm just going to change the lighting a bit, so hopefully it's a bit better for you guys. Maybe a bit brighter, yeah. So that can be a good example of a sound that is, what you call it, ear candy. It's a found sound, and because you've made that sound or recorded it or sampled it, that is a really good way to do it because it adds your personality, your life into it. And I got this trick ages ago from Simon Stokes at Subsign Academy. Shout him out, he taught me loads about music production. But I had heard it before in records, like for example, my favourite record ever is probably Dark Side of the Moon. Come on, best album ever, no contest. They used sounds of cars, airports, and they recorded people just for sound bites to get more human voice into it and stuff like that as well. So I do think it's a technique you should explore, putting your own sounds into your music. And it is something we've tried in my band No TV, which is my biggest recording project at the moment, is using sounds from not just our instruments, but kind of getting some other kind of sounds in there that we've recorded or sampled or something like that. Or used little gadgets. For example, you know, sometimes you get little cool little gadgets. Like for example, my partner Ellen got me this, shout out Ellen, this theremin, baby theremin, which is quite fun. Or one Christmas, maybe like over 10 years ago. And you can use it for, you can play it, which I've actually done on a record. I looked up to the tuner and tried to play it really simply. And then, but maybe if you're not a great theremin player, it's better for sound effects. So if you've got little gadgets like that, or you know, like, I don't know, you might have an old gadgets, like even like the little things like this, the Korg Monotron kicking about, you know, because like people sometimes get these, they're fun little things. Hook them up, record some cool sounds and textures on it, and then drop that into the background of your music. Not just using samples and stuff all the time. It can be a really good way of just making it more personal and adding ear candy that way. Now, another ear candy thing is called the noise floor as well. So a noise floor is when you've got a sound that goes all the way through your track. And it's so quiet you can't hear it, but when it's gone, something is missing. Similar concept to the starting one there. Now, what I'm going to do is just go to Ableton's core library here and samples, and I'm going to go for loops and texture, and they've got a few different ones here that we can use, like forest ambience. So just for an example, I didn't record this one, I'm kind of cheating a little bit. Oh, it's quite short actually. What else have we got? Rain and train. I'll use that one, it's longer. And usually about 30 seconds works well, and then you can loop around. Anything shorter than that, it might be a bit too short and you might get clicks as it loops around. But in the track, when it's loud, it's way too loud. So the idea is, I'll just bring this down. I can't hear it. Bringing it up. Usually sitting at about 54 to 42 decibels will be loud enough for it. Now what you'll want to do, because a lot of recordings made outside, you'll want to EQ it and take out the lows from it. This is something we'll talk about more in mixing and mastering, because once you've arranged your track, that's one of the next steps. So I do have some ways to help you with that after this stream as well. So, Richard's here. Richard, how you doing? Shout out Richard, he's the bassist and synth player in No TV, the band I'm in. So, how's it going, man? Hope you're good. Give you the little wave button. Yes. So, yeah, we're just adding sounds. I actually used the boombox sample, Richard, of, turn up so you can hear it. It's actually going to be our latest record at the end of it. So I used that as the example today, which is fun. But now we've added the rain and train sample as texture in the background like this. So and if I mute it, it might feel like someone's gone. But when I bring it in, yeah, you can't really hear it, but it just adds this constant texture. And what I'd say with the feeling of your track, the thing you should aim to do is choose a noise floor that matches the vibe of your track. So this one, I'm not convinced it does in this case. A forest vibe, well, rain and train. Okay, this track's got kind of drive and feel to it. It's kind of got a lot of kind of forward motion. It's inspired by synthwave and techno, and quite often those genres have themes of movement, of technology, of the future. So rain and train sounds might fit it actually. It's not too bad. Forest floor, maybe not so much. Maybe if you're going for a more organic electronica feel, put in a found sound that's like that. So this is about matching the textures you're putting in to the feeling of your music as well. Really important with ear candy as well. So we got Hand Shot First is with us as well. Hope you're good. Just so you know, guys, we've got about 5 or 10 minutes left on this stream, and what we're doing is having a look at doing ear candy and music production. And yeah, shout out, I hope everyone's doing good with this. The ear candy we've added so far is a little snare drum automation on the reverb. So this happens once in the song, that's why it's ear candy, happens once. So I'll let you hear this, turn up. So literally once you get that, it changes section. And then the other time is I've actually added a flourish of bass notes just right at the end of this one. Yeah, and that one, maybe it's a bit much. I'll maybe bring that down an octave, that really high one. Yeah, that's better. And what that's doing is adding interest, because electronic music is quite loopy, it can be quite repetitive, so adding these flourishes, also known as ear candy, that happen once in your track, twice maximum, important. And then after those two things, we added an intro sound, which is this boombox texture here. Okay, it's really quiet in the background, and it just adds a bit of static and texture to the track. And then after that, we added the rain and train noise floor, it's called, because it happens almost the whole song, but super quiet in the background. And if you're wondering, where does this noise floor thing come from, David? Well, humans have lived with music on physical format for over 100 years. So whether, even if you were like born in the digital age, you know, you'll still have this feeling, and I've experienced probably vinyl or tape or heard stuff like that. So a noise floor on a tape might be the tape hiss or the mechanics of the tape, or the vinyl, it might be the needle and the grooves making that subtle crackle. So in electronic music made completely in the box, you can actually lose that noise floor a bit. So we'll reintroduce it, but we get to choose what our noise floor is as well. Uncle George is here as well. How's it going, George? Hope you're good. We're just doing a bit of a music production lesson, so hope you're doing good. Yeah, nice one. So great everyone's coming on the streams. Hope you're enjoying them. This is stream 3 of 3 lessons, where you're getting your track from an 8-bar loop all the way to being arranged fully as a full track that you can then take to mix and master. Hopefully it's going to help the music producers out there. If you just start getting into music production, hopefully it's entertaining for you as well. And if anyone is really into it, but they're like, man, I just joined, all these 3 streams will be live with the screen share and the good audio on Whiskey and Synth's YouTube, which you can re-watch as well. And if anyone is watching these on the re-watches, shout out you for working hard on your music and getting on with it, and kind of trying your best to get it out there and done. So yeah, that's really cool. And I'm grateful for anyone that's tuned in and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that right to the end. One cool thing on Ableton, if you have 2 loops crossing over, like they do here, you can do a crossfade just by hovering over it like this, grabbing one of the little dots and dragging it from left to right or right to left, and I'll add a little crossfade across them like that, which is good, which you'll see on the YouTube feed, but hopefully describe that quite well. That's one thing I really like about it compared to when I was working in Pro Tools. It adds a little auto fade, tiny auto fades to avoid clicks in your audio as you play it along. Now with the other thing you can do with kind of found sounds, this is a little bonus one, is you can even add them in a drum rack as well. So what or a sampler. So if I chuck on a sampler, this is one of my favorite tricks. Kind of going off piece, because if it's a sampler, you might have it repeating, so not necessarily ear candy. But I'm going to drop on a sampler track, and then I'm going to go to the packs. I'm going to get the copy shop noise. So this is all sounds from a photocopier shop, and then we'll put the sampler in slice mode and arm it so I can play it. I'll turn this up so you can hear it. So that's quite cool. You can literally make drum beats out of anything. So maybe at the end of the song, that'd be quite fun to have. So I'll record it in. So that's a bit of a crazy example of it. And of course I'll have to quantize all that. And I did say earlier, don't quantize everything and get it on the grid, but this one I'm going to, because it's a drum beat. And it's just a crazy example of how you can make an outro out of a sample that you've recorded of ambience, but actually put it on a sampler and make it rhythm. Make it really quiet though. So I have to admit, that one's a bit of a mess. Maybe the first bit's okay. Yeah, I'll just duplicate that one, that rhythm there. Right to the end. Yeah, and that's quite a fun thing to do if you are interested in it. So James, my brother, is on the Whiskey and Synths live stream on YouTube. He was saying for noise floor, I sometimes use a free VST called Zebralet as an alternative. It's got some really atmospheric sounds you can put in really quiet, but copy your chord MIDI track to keep it harmonic. That's a great shout actually. So that's Zebralet. So yeah, your noise floor could be musical as well, which is really cool. So that's well worth checking out as well, for sure. And I think that can, now we've got the outro of our song there, I think that gives the examples I was wanting to show If you're on my email list, you've probably got the guide for this already. If not, comment, I can send it out to you, the ear candy guide. And the goal of that one basically for that day is to add an intro sound, an outro sound, a cool sound at the drop, and maybe 2 more types of ear candy. So can you fit in 5 types of ear candy into your track? That's the challenge. And just to recap, it could be a sample, it could be a noise floor, it could be an audio effect, kind of flicking on and off just once. It could be a musical element where you get a flourish of notes or a fill on your bass line that happens just once. Or you could have an intro sound or an outro sound as well. Remember, I encourage you to go and record your own sounds as well. And like I said, if you've got a microphone, if you've got a smartphone, if you're watching this, you've probably got a smartphone, record sounds into that and use them in your music as well. And like I said, people have been doing that for ages. And what I'll say is there's a quote from PVA for the artist information. PVA are like a London trio of electronic music makers. They said, "We enjoy playing with textures at the appropriate times to signify moments of catharsis, joy, and complex emotions." People say you can't do that. That's actually exciting though, when they say that. It's progressive. So yeah, match your ear candy to the emotions of your track and it'll have more impact as well. And even if you're not quite sure exactly what your track's trying to say or what the emotions are of it, I think it's worth trying to do for sure. All right, so just checking the comments. If anyone's got any last comments on ear candy, drop them now. That's a good time to ask as well, for sure. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this like mini series of getting your track arranged, about finishing your damn track, getting it ready to go out there and getting it ready to be released. And that's something I really want to help everyone who's watching this with. Hopefully I've helped you get to this stage so far. And you might be thinking, well, what can I do to mix and master it? Well, I've actually got something coming up in the new year that might help you. That's like a full new year challenge. It's called Finish That Damn Track. And I'll show you the page for it just now. Basically, it's 10 sessions over 10 weeks. And you're going to get one finished track and it's going to be released on Tonic Note Records, which is my label with my brother James, which we've ran for over 7 years now. I can't believe it's 7 years. I had a compilation out every year, every Christmas it comes out, but we've also had other releases around that as well. So the difference to other music production courses is this is like designed not just to give you skills and knowledge, but get you to the goal that most music producers want. We want a finished track released on a label. So everything is laser beam focused to do that. It's also got a few different packs which you can get with it. So we've got a whole bunch of bundled content with it, where you get a refresher webinar on Ableton if you need it. There's stuff to do with choosing your best projects, arranging an 8-bar loop into a composition. We go through mixing, and we've got an online community that leaves you accountable as well. So staying in that, and that'll help you once even this is finished. And you'll be in touch with me through the whole thing, and even in between sessions, I can give one-to-one help. And on the emails, on WhatsApp, even like quick one-to-one sessions. So there's a whole package, but it's all designed at getting your track finished and released and out there, because that's what almost all of us want as music producers. I know not every music producer ever wants that, but a lot of us, almost all of us, is what we want. So it's been featured in the Skinny magazine on BBC Radio Kent last year. We were with Dominic King on his show talking about it. It's been featured in Margate Mercury and Scene magazine, which are like the main magazines in Kent for culture. So really grateful for that. And one of my students who I've worked with recently was Alice Gold. So Alice's website's here on the YouTube, but I'll just describe it. She's like a singer-songwriter who's been wanting to incorporate more electronic elements into her stuff, was setting up a home studio, helped her set up her home studio, and she's starting getting back into making music, demoing loads. She's putting her band together, and she's got a gig coming up in Ramsgate Music Hall, so shout out that. Let me just get the poster for that one out for you guys, because that's a good one to shout out for Alice as well, because I think it's going to be really good, that one, and the poster's really cool for it as well. So this is it, Saturday 30th of November. So yeah, it's been great working with Alice, and done a few sessions to help her get her music from kind of just being getting back into it after a break and getting towards this finished objectives. And her objectives was make loads of demos, put the band together, get a gig. That's what we worked towards. But this January New Year challenge is all about finishing your track and getting released on a label. And it's something I definitely can do. And you'll be on a compilation with loads of other artists just like you. Now, there's only 20 places on it. And over the next week or so, I've got a massive discount on it as well for everyone to join in if you're interested. It's loads of good reviews as well, which you can check out on the website. And basically, hopefully you've enjoyed all this free stuff to get you this far. This is a big jump, this mini 3-day challenge. You can always comment, DM me, you know how to get me. My email's on the YouTube channel info, and I reply to every message I get. So if you do want some extra help with it, I'm not just trying to sell you this package, although I do think it'll help. What I really want is to help you out for free as much as I can as well, and hopefully this has helped a bit along the way too. It's been enjoyable for me doing it as well, and thanks to everyone who's been in the live streams, asked questions and stuff like that as well. If you're not on the email list, give me a message or DM and I'll put you on it so you get the special discounts for the launch week coming up as well. If you're on the rewatch watching this, thanks so much for tuning into all these sessions, even if you're rewatching them and pausing them and going through it step by step to arrange your track. This isn't the only way to arrange your track, but hopefully going from these 3 live sessions has got you to where you want to be. In the future, if you want, you can explore other ways and techniques to arrange your track, and that's something I'm happy to talk about in future videos or live streams as well. So yeah, massive shout out to everyone on the streams as well today. It's been my pleasure having you guys here, and I want to say thanks to everyone who's helped out, and yeah, hope to see you on the New Year challenge. And like I said, DM me, email me, all my details are on this platforms I'm using, either YouTube or Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. And even if you just want mixed feedback or feedback on, if you want feedback on the arrangement you've just made, just send me an MP3 or a link so I can listen to it and I can help you out with that for free as well. Because I do have this challenge coming up, but I'm here to help for free loads as much as I can as well. Just try and spread the good music production vibes. But that's been your Whiskey and Synth Slandrovan music producers. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to shoot off, but any questions, get in touch, and enjoy your whiskey, enjoy your music making. I will catch you later. Cheers guys, bye.